Making vinyl records sound good is a lot of work. You have to have a good record player, make sure that it's grounded properly, find the best tracking force for your stylus, ensure the cartridge is aligned properly, so on and so forth. But even when everything is dialed in perfectly, there's still one enemy that's waiting to strike at any moment: dust. If you're like me and primarily have new vinyl records that have been properly stored, it's a minor issue. But if you've just inherited some older records, or you've finally found your dream copy of the Broadway version of The Music Man from 1959, you might be in for more snap, crackle, and pop than a bowl of Rice Krispies the first time you drop the needle. So when Vevor offered to send me their new Ultrasonic record cleaner for review, I thought it was time to do some testing and figure out how best to clean a dirty record once and for all. For our tests here today, I have a mix of records I listen to all the time, and some that I keep around just for testing, which are much dirtier. Ideally, those dirtier records will be the perfect candidates for this test. All of them are in pretty good condition overall though, which is important too. No amount of cleaning will remove scratches. So to begin, I gave each a pass with a carbon fiber brush, then recorded our baseline samples. Next, we're going to do the cheap DIY method, washing the records in the kitchen sink with a squirt of Dawn detergent. Yes, this actually works. I use a microfiber rag to gently scrub them, then once they're clean, I rinse them off and set them up to dry. I just use my tap water for this. It's cheap, easy, and I've been doing it for years without complaint. After they've dried off, it's back to the record player to record more samples, which you'll hear in just a minute. Then, finally, all the records get a run in Vevor's Ultrasonic Cleaner. This Ultrasonic Cleaner is one of the cheapest on the market, with an MSRP of $150. This is basically a standard 6-liter ultrasonic cleaner tank with a motorized arm that can be clamped on the side. And that's really nice because it means you can use this machine for more than just cleaning vinyl records. Vevor even includes the accessories that would come with a standard ultrasonic cleaner, like a lid and this little jewelry container, which is a nice touch. The motorized arm supports the records and slowly rotates them through the cleaning solution. This way your labels stay out of the liquid. Speaking of, I'm using a mixture of distilled water and isopropyl alcohol as a cleaner. As far as build quality goes, the ultrasonic cleaner seems as well built as something can be. Everything is either stainless steel or this thick, heavy textured aluminum, and it all seems sturdy enough to last for a very long time. Initially, I was going to complain about these acrylic separators though. They space the records apart so you can clean several at once, but at first glance, it looked like someone rough cut them with a hole saw, and I was expecting to have to finish the edges with sandpaper. But as I was filming, I realized that's actually just the protective film fraying at the edges. Once I peeled the film off, each separator had a nice smooth edge. You might notice the cleaner is set up in my basement here, and that's because it's actually pretty loud. If you've ever been near an ultrasonic welder, it reminds me a lot of that sound. And it was actually loud enough to trigger the noise warning on my Apple Watch, so I set it up in the basement to keep the sound contained. I ran our samples on the ultrasonic rotisserie for 25 minutes at 35 degrees Celsius, which was super easy to do on the ultrasonic cleaner's built-in timer. Then once they were finished, I removed them and let them air dry on the drying rack that came with the machine. The drying rack is a bit fiddly to put together and adjust, but once it's set up, it's actually really nice to have. The instructions for the entire cleaner are sparse, but I was able to figure out how it went together without too much trouble. Once the cleaning is done and everything is dry, we can finally compare. So sit back, have a listen, and I'll meet you at the end to go over the results.
You're crazy with the heat. Credit is no good to an ocean salesman.
What? All aboard?
Why not? What's the matter with credit? Why, it's old-fashioned. Charlie, you're an anvil salesman. Your firm give credit?
No, sir.
Nor anybody else.
River City, next station stop. River City next.
Cash!
Well, what did you think? Personally, I think there's a definite improvement at each step. The sync wash seemed to remove most of the background hiss and some of the snaps and pops. I think it's most noticeable in the vocal portions of the Music Man, but the ultrasonic cleaner definitely took things up to another level. The background hiss was reduced a bit further, and to my ears, it almost sounded like the records had more dynamic range after going through the ultrasonic cleaner, which wasn't something I was expecting. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the improvement, and since it cleans the records without getting the labels wet, this is going to be my go-to method of record cleaning for the foreseeable future. I may experiment with different cleaning solutions though. Several people over on Reddit suggested adding a few drops of something called Photo Flow to the alcohol mix to take things up a notch, and I'd like to give that a try down the road. Overall, for $150, Vivor's ultrasonic cleaner seems like a no-brainer way to level up the sound quality of your vinyl records, especially if you're into thrifting vintage records instead of buying new. It's well built, you can use it to clean other things besides records, and having a clean record will put less wear on your stylus. If you run a vintage cartridge like I do, that can be pretty important. New old stock needles for my ADC XLM are not getting any easier to come by. If you do decide to pick one up, there'll be a link down in the description, as well as a coupon code for 5% off your purchase. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.